So, hi, I'm Ellen. I'm a newish model designer to the LEGO Ideas team, and I'm super excited to show you the next product. Launching 16 years before the Saturn V and landing on the moon successfully, we have the LEGO Tintin Rocket. So when I heard that this project was going through, I cornered Jordan and asked him please to let me work on it, because this is an IP I have been obsessed with for my whole life, and especially the rocket. It's iconic, red and white shape, it's like curved, everything about it is just such a beautiful object. The problem with that is making it out of squares. So one of the big sort of challenges we had along the way was to make this like spherical shape with 6 sides, and he had this curve all the way down with curved legs, with curved feet, with a curved top. And I have a really interesting core build, which I can show some people tomorrow. Yeah, that was quite a journey to go on to get to this shape. One of the things that kind of dictated the size was these 6 module walls on the bottom. They were a really nice shape for this like kind of foot of the rocket, and we know we wanted to use that, and that kind of made us then build the legs and the rest of the rocket based on that. Of course, the checkered pattern is super iconic. This is something that the IP partner were very strict on. When we first showed them, I had it wrong by 1/6, I guess. So the checkers didn't match up to how they were in the actual comic. So they asked, can we change that? We were like, yeah, sure, let's change that, easy. We came back and we were like, that's not easy. So that was quite an exploration. But of course, a rocket is not complete without anybody to fly it. And since we wanted the very iconic rocket, just on its own, so people can imagine it's in space, it's on Earth, wherever they want, we decided to make the figures in their iconic orange spacesuits. And wobbly helmets. But so yes, we have Tintin, we have Snow, we have Captain Haddock, we have Calculus, and we have Thomson and Thompson. They of course have their original names in French, but I am not going to try that. So Snowy is a new element for this one. We have him in his little spacesuit and with his oxygen tank on the back. All the characters have their oxygen tanks, and they also have little radios for Tintin and Captain Haddock. Now you might be wondering why the Thomson and Thompson characters have green hair. That's because at a particular moment in the comic, when they're in their spacesuits, the twins are having a reaction to a medicine they took in the previous book, which changed the colour of their hair. So when they're in their spacesuits, they have green hair, and of course the IP partner were like, well, they have to have green hair, so they have green hair. Another new element that we made was the cone on the top. We wanted it to be in the same family as the feet, so we have this beautiful curved shape and everything kind of matches. But that also gave us the opportunity to hide a little detail inside. So if we take the cone off, easier, then we can show you that we have a little cockpit in the top, a little area with all of the details that you can see in the comic, and then you can probably see later on, but in the top you have the moment where they see the Earth for the first time after launching from Earth. So you can see we have a little sticker, and then our graphic designer Anthony did a super nice job with all of the control panels and the details. In the top. We have more facts.
No, not really any more facts, but obviously we have a fan with this, so we met with them multiple times and showed them the model. Their original submission had the kind of landing pad as well, but we really wanted to just focus on the iconic rocket. Also, that means that we can really kind of focus everything to make it as iconic as possible. And put the bricks where we need them, and then also include the minifigures as well, because the fan submission didn't have figures, but we saw from comments and reactions, people were like, I really hope we include figures. So yeah, we have a new wig for Tintin as well, because he has a very specific kind of quiff. So yeah, we'd like to open up for any questions you might have already. Can we spin it? I mean, it's pretty symmetrical, Jose. I know you're a fan.
Well, we need to set a cockpit from here.
Oh, we can put the top on and spin it, yes.
No cockpit.
You want to spin it?
There's a cool triangle in the legs as well.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that was something like the curvature of the legs. We were doing all sorts of different builds with slopes and funny techniques, but they are super curved like the rest of the rocket. So I went to Mike man of triangles and asked him to please provide me with a triangle. And he gave me one in the top and one in the bottom to make this shape, and then sent me away with that to figure out how to make it look pretty.
And I think, as Ellen mentioned, if you're in the interviews for this tomorrow, you will see how deceptively simple this looks, but the actual core is very complicated to get those curves, and it was pretty mind-blowing when we showed it to the IT partner, and kind of, we took it to them in person in Belgium, so we got to sit with them and really talk through it. So they gave us a prioritized list of things that we had to work on, or that Ellen had to work on. I was like, yeah, we can do everything. And then you did. Question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
You mentioned a little bit about the specifics of the IP partner and them wanting a very specific look for this. Could you talk a little bit more about the experience of communicating with them and what kind of things they wanted in this and what kind of discussions there were?
Yeah, so I mean, for a lot of new partners, so this is a brand new partner, it's not with Disney or Warner Bros. Or anything. So we went to them specifically and sat with them in their office with their design team. And it's simpler because then you can have those difficult design discussions with them and really kind of show them the model and show them the limitations that Lego bricks have. And that was part of the introduction we gave. It's like, we're not making one-to-one scale replicas or die-cast models. We are making a Lego product. So there will be angles. You know, this isn't as seamless as a die-cast model, but they were understanding in that that's our limitation. So we met with them, and then afterwards we just kind of sent them decks with updates to the model, and then they send it back for approval. I think we had a couple of calls as well with their design team.
What was what was the name of the IP partner in this case?
It's Tintin Imagination.
Yeah.
It's
imagination.
Yeah.
Imagine
that. Yeah, it's a very long name.
I think the thing with Hergé was that he was so accurate to vehicles, especially, and did a ton of research into vehicles, and they had to be as realistic as possible. And so that was something that the designers now working for Tintin stick to with all of their replicas of the models as well. So that was it has to be really accurate, otherwise it doesn't work for us or for the IP.
And that was the same for the minifigure design. They wanted it as close to the original comics as possible, but that's not a Lego style. So we had to take them on that journey and say, this is how we translate IP characters that are very realistic or very stylized into our own stylized version of the minifigures, and that's where the balance kind of came with the characters there.
Thank you. What was their reaction when you presented that minifigures was going to be part of the model? Because the original idea submission, like you said, had no minifigures.
I mean, yeah, they were very excited. We had a lot of back and forth discussions about which version, because there was feelings in the team that we should do the classic characters, so the blue with the shorts and things like that. But for them, it made more sense to do them in the spacesuits because it is related to Destination Moon, and they were totally happy with that. And we just worked with them on how could we get the iconic look. But they were very excited, and they were like, "Can we get calculus as well?" And we're like, "We can get the iconic ones that were on the rocket in the comics." So yeah.
Next question, we need to move to another model.
Yeah.
Is it swooshable?
Well, I broke the last designer's model when I picked it up, but it is very swooshable.
Yay!